Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Recreation Rooster. This is Dan Giavo, along with my co-host, myisha Jones.
Hey, everybody.
Good. I would like to start off with a disclosure that, especially now with myisha being on the board of directors, that our views represent us and don't represent anybody else.
Absolutely, guys. So, as we embark on this journey of giving you guys fresh content every week, we here at Recreational Rooster Podcast love your feedback, love your engagement. We want to continue to focus on the health and recreation and wellness enthusiasts worldwide, in particular recreation therapists. I am so honored to be able to represent in other capacities, but as always, Recreation Rooster is I would say, open mic for Dan and I to express all things recreation and health. So, with that being said, let's get started with episode 15, which was due to air on April the 8th. We're going to go ahead and give you guys some fresh and engaging content. Go ahead, Dan. Let's start with our quote of the day.
Indeed. And the quote of the day is, "The body heals with play, the mind heals with laughter, and the spirit heals with joy." Once again, the body heals with play, the mind heals with laughter, and the spirit heals with joy. So, which I feel like is essential because play is essential for us to learn and grow and create and even refresh from work, which includes laughter and joy. And these concepts are critical and a critical part of what we do.
Absolutely. I think that every day we as recreation therapists, we try our best to use wit and humor to reduce the fatigue and the stress and the distress that comes with our environmental stressors that we have around us and all of the societal changes that impact us on a day-to-day basis, be it in our households with our families, outside of our households in our respective communities, in our work environments, and even in the coming and goings as we deal with our daily life activities. You know, utilizing humor and laughing and making lightheartedness of things that would usually be very stressful, because we know that stress is one of the number one killers and of people on a day-to-day basis. It comes into our body and it manifests itself in a lot of different ways. I think that recreation therapists, one of the many more creative allied health professionals, definitely uses wit and humor and laughter and joy on a day-to-day basis when we facilitate our interventions to affect a positive change in our clients. What you think about that, Daniel?
Yes, absolutely. That's the heart of what we do. It's critical. And yeah, I don't know if we always express it that way. That I know that the people kind of pulling the funds often want to see results that are quantified and tangible, but really, it's a beautiful process that we do. And that involves playing, enjoying, laughter, and all those concepts. So,
What was the third thing that you mentioned in the quote of the day?
yeah, play, joy, laughter. Uh, yeah,
And
laughter.
laughter.
Right. Yeah. And make sure that you also have your phone off so I could hear you because sometimes you cut out. But uh,
No
up
problem.
next,
Thank you so much.
yeah. All right. So anyhow, like I was saying, uh, that's the quote of the day, and it's very critical for everybody. Everybody needs this. Everybody could
Absolutely.
use recreational therapy, really. So. Yeah.
And just to think on a lighter note, let's go ahead into our next segment, which is the song of the day. So I was tasked with coming up with the song of the day, and one of the songs that really brings me joy and laughter in my life is a song called "Free Falling" by Tom Petty, who is definitely a living legend.
Yeah.
In a sense that him and his band have had classics throughout decades. And I do know that this song was made popular in a movie where Tom Cruise was the actor, and he sung the song "Free Falling" while he was in the car, just kind of as a release of tension and stress in his life when it came to dealing with things of the unknown and dealing with the stresses of life. And I just love how Tom Petty just belts out that song that he's free and that he's free falling. And I find that when I use this song in programming, the client is just all like, it's just like a battle anthem of freedom and of individuality and of optimism, and they all just began to sing and smile and connect with each other in ways that is simply amazing. So I think that this song here, "Free Falling" by Tom Petty, is definitely a great song to use in recreation therapy programming. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those feel-good classics that Tom Petty created that uh, really gets to kind of the heart of what we do.
Absolutely. Yes. So next up, guys, our next segment is pushing forward. This is actionable steps of advocacy that recreation therapists can use on a day-to-day basis to drive the impact and the I would say the viability and the influence of recreation therapy forward. Go ahead, Dan, take it away.
Yes, and in this case, it's very important to get a hold of and being in. We talked a little bit about being involved in the past, and one way to do that is to get a hold of your board members and other people who represent you, board members, politicians, um, and people on different committees. So these people represent you, and you got to let your voice be known. I mean, myisha now is on the board of directors for NCTRC, which is amazing, and uh, and of course I was with her when we had dinner with the board of directors, and I mentioned the national licensure. So what better place to do that than with the NCTRC board members? So I mean, if that's something that could be pushed, that I feel like could revolutionize the profession. So, if there's a national credentialing board that every state recognizes, that would be huge. So, get a hold of, your board members, your committee members, your politicians, and let your voices be heard.
Absolutely. And I'll be the first to say, your advocacy boards, your boards that are in place as a collective to represent for advocacy and for pushing legislation forward, definitely get in contact with those boards and understand that those boards are always in conversation with various affiliation groups as well. We're all stronger together. And I really do think that it would be groundbreaking to have me personally, I think that it would be groundbreaking to have a national licensing for recreation therapists. I don't know of any other profession that has been accomplished, but to be able to get a common, agreement and affiliation between all states to ensure that recreation therapists everywhere would be licensed would be simply amazing.
Yeah.
One reason why I really do enjoy conversing with Daniel is that Daniel is ambitious and progressive, and he thinks outside of the box. And he's always in support of what would benefit us as a collective. And I think that would be, personally, I think that would be amazing if that was a possibility that we could pursue as a collective.
Yeah,
Thank
it would
you.
probably be the fastest way to move the profession forward. So, as we've talked about, the profession has been dying a little bit with the closure of some RT colleges and universities, but it could actually that could actually make it go in the reverse and get more popular. So we'll see. We'll see.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to mention regarding licensure, licensure would benefit us as a collective. Yes, for the up and coming RTs who are not even credentialed yet, who are in school, it was something that would greatly impact them in the future. But as far as the collective that are out practicing, actively practicing right now, it would be a game changer for us. Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And
And
that's
next,
up, guys.
yeah, yeah.
And next up, guys, we have Fast Facts NTR. And one thing I wanted to mention that very few people think about, even though it's ever present in our profession, is that many of us have skills in officiating sports and different leisure activities that require rules and regulations. Many recreation therapists have this skill set under their belt when it comes to select sports and recreation pursuits. And the reason why we have this skill set so readily available under our belt is the fact that we have to oftentimes to make sports and recreations inclusive is to know what the rules are so that we can adjust for accommodations. You know what I mean? And that we can ensure that they are equitable and still fair, right? And still competitive, right? As well and enjoyable for our clients, no matter their level of functionality, right? So, with that being said, many RTs, we carry whistles around. We might be the people that's wearing the striped black and white shirts for the game because we engage in the games and we utilize these games to affect positive interventions, non-invasive interventions that give us positive change in behavior. Oftentimes when I worked with at-risk youth that were in forensic settings and locked units, we oftentimes did midnight basketball. And this really did help our youth to stay program compliant and to control their impulsivity and their anger and reduce their feelings of depression. It gives them a sense of purpose, an outlet for stress, and a positive way to socialize with one another without involving drugs and without involving all the other, I would say, maladaptive behaviors that might come with drug use and criminal activity. So, utilizing basketball and other forms of sporting and recreation, and me actually knowing the rules, enforcing the rules as an officiant was like a huge, an essential piece to that programming being successful. What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking about it even more so. I mean, and it's a great skill to have, knowing all those rules and regulations with regards to the sports. But even more so than that, what we're experts at doing is adapting and modifying the rules and regulations to make it equitable for people with disabilities, and of course, including people with the disabilities, and not making it more about diehard competition, but making it more about facilitating beneficial outcomes. And that's one thing that we're masters at, and that differentiates us from like phys ed majors who might be more into the diehard competition aspect of it, whereas we do it more for optimizing the benefits that come with in the sports. So.
I'm glad that you did mention that. And I do know that whether it be adaptive sporting or inclusive sporting, understanding that even in those subcategories, that there's a range of, novice all the way to master level, all the way to competitive, even for our persons that that may benefit from accommodations. But yes, definitely, this is a strong suit that a lot of recreation therapists have, and we got to let the world know that we're just simply amazing, guys, and that we have this skill set under our belt, and that we do it exceptionally well as well. So that's definitely one thing I wanted to mention regarding fast facts in therapeutic recreation. And our next one, guys, is cornering the market. And I wanted to talk about successful tips that you can utilize in your
You do
private
know that
practice.
we skipped a few, let's do below the surface.
All right, let's do below the surface, guys. All right, with that being said, we want to talk a little bit about underground car racing culture. We have movies like The Fast and the Furious and many other movies that speak about this underground culture of car enthusiasts who like to live life on the edge, who like to live dangerously, who are I would say interested in sporting like NASCAR and like Grand Prix, but at the same time, may not be, connected to those larger fan bases. So they have, in essence, created these subcultures right in their own cities and towns where they meet up late at night and they race their cars that they've worked on all week, as well. They may tend to focus um, Nissans and Toyotas and even some American brand muscle cars, and they do things like race and do all kind of tricks with their cars, which oftentimes is illegal and oftentimes can be dangerous. But in their culture, is very thrilling, and their subculture is very thrilling, and it's very exciting. And we have, like I said before, we've seen many Hollywood movie producers tap into this culture, and you will see that it evolves from clothing to the way that hair is worn, to fashion, to style, to music, the full nine, to enthusiasts putting art on their cars and utilizing different modes of adaptations on their cars as well. So here in LA, I would say the racing subculture is alive and well. Let's put it like that. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'm not saying I am gonna do that myself. It's very dangerous, but it's also definitely a big subculture. I know. Yes, out in LA. I don't know about where else in the country, but yeah, that is a big subculture out there. Maybe it is the influence that it's Hollywood out there. So, could be that.
Yes, indeed. And I believe that this marketing machine out here, the Hollywood marketing machine, influences the entire world. Indeed.
Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
yes. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Next up, our next segment is Behind the Numbers. Take it away, Dan.
Right, and Temple University, that the one that's closing, has they were very reputable. They were accredited by a number of agencies, and they're one of the oldest in the country, top tier reputation. They had a 4+1 bachelor's to master's degree program. One of the few that's left. I mean, and the master's degree program's online. So, I mean, if you want to sign up for that, sign up like now before they close, because they're in the process of closing, which is too bad. That was that's very much a shame that they're in the process of closing. So, yeah. It's sad for the world of therapeutic recreation, especially since they were one of the dinosaurs. They were one of the oldest ones in the country. So somebody needs to pick it up. Somebody needs to pick up. Some of these colleges and universities need to adapt it to your program?
You know, I must admit myself, I was shocked to hear the news. And you know, as the ground breaks on what really happened, we definitely here at Recreation Rooster, we have our ears to the ground. We want to know exactly what's happening. We want to reach out to Temple, to those professors, and ask them, "Hey, what's going on?" Share it with recreation therapists and see how we can garner support behind you. You never know what might happen. You may just keep your graduate level programming. I do know you do have an upcoming CEU conference that is coming up as well. We want to rally behind you and let you know that, and let any other professors at any other TR colleges and universities that have TR know that, guess what? Recreation Rooster is here to support you. Let us know ahead of the time. When you hear grumblings that your administration may be canceling your program, send out the cattle call. Send out the call so that we can support you, so that we can rally the troops, so that we can try to thwart this type of thing happening, so it doesn't have to send shockwaves through the profession. We want you to know that we are here to support you, and we're here to support any program that empowers, trains, and edifies recreation therapists.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're here to do, and it's it's a shame. It's definitely we definitely need to have more programs, not less. So, very important that we get on it, and we're here to support. That's why we're doing this for advocacy, education, and support, and to provide information. That's why we're doing this podcast in the first place. So, um, definitely, and I know personally, a couple of TR graduates from that year from Temple University. Very good. Uh, yeah, Jasmine Paez. We've even honored her a couple of weeks ago. She's a graduate of Temple University, and I got another one in mind actually now, who we could honor. So we could give the stamp of approval to. So, um, yeah, we definitely the profession definitely has to pick it up, and that's why we're here. We're trying to take an action step by doing this, taking action steps by doing this podcast, and put our money where our mouth is, so so to speak. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Our next segment, guys, it is Fast Facts in TR. And I believe that I already did that one on officiating recreational sports, which is something that RTs are great at. So I'm going to go to our next one, which is cornering the market. Tips for a successful private practice in recreation therapy. And what I wanted to speak on was diversifying your service catalog. The days of private practices, irrespective of the profession, just doing counseling sessions or group sessions and doing, I would say, intakes and discharge plans are long gone. Now is the time where you, as a recreation therapy private practice owner, you need to look into not only doing consultation and also private practice sessions, but also incorporating products that can be utilized in the facilitation of your sessions, and that can be utilized doing solitary leisure pursuits with your clientele, but also consultation, not only with client, but with businesses that support the client, linkages, right, to other programs and services that the client desires that can support the health outcomes that you are targeting. And then you also have many that also do, I would say, expert witnessing or expert consultations as far as quality of life surveys or assessments. Also different forms of, I would say, adaptability assessments and recommendations for different agencies that are looking for these niche these niche, I would say, schools of thought and experts to help them to be more efficient and more accommodating to their client base. And this can stretch across multiple disciplines, multiple industries as well. So you have a lot of social workers, psychologists, OTs, PTs, rec therapists, KTs, now branching into diversifying the catalog of services that they provide to their clientele, further expanding the demographics and the markets that they service on a regular daily basis. So it makes it a very exciting new frontier for recreation therapists. So I myself, as being an owner of New Horizons, I encourage each and every recreation therapist that steps out there to be a private practice owner to begin to be more creative, more innovative, and expand the region, expand the diversity of the catalog of services that you provide. And you will see that there will be endless opportunities to affect a positive change in the industry and to make a good gob of money.
Yeah, good point. I mean, a diversity of services and reaching out to businesses that are looking for inclusion and other things, other areas that don't even necessarily know that much about TR, but want a more inclusive environment. So uh, that's uh, that's a good point.
Yeah, definitely. And next up, guys, our next segment is nuts and bolts and TR. So we want to talk about different types of fitness equipment. Oftentimes, many TR have a fitness gym where you may have access to free weights and different circuit machines that are used, and resistance band machines and treadmills and ellipticals as well. So, just looking into what the best equipment that is long lasting, that will give the best results, and that's the most easy to use for your clientele is essential. And then also those that have adjustable, easy to adjust, I would say seats and stuff that can be removed so that wheelchairs can be rolled in to utilize certain equipment with ease, with the click of a handle or a push of a paddle, you can move those items as well. So, thinking about certain brands, which we don't endorse, but thinking about certain brands like Life Fitness gives a great array of circuit machines and free weights, and they have great customer service and installation teams that come out to work with you to really customize it to your needs. We at Greater Los Angeles VA, we are opening a veteran therapy garden on this coming Tuesday, April the 16th, 2024 at 10 a.m. at our Sepulveda campus. And we're super excited. It's such a beautiful gym. And it is equipped with Life Fitness machines for the leisure and conditioning purposes for our veterans. So as RTs that do work in fitness and that have gymnasiums, always take into consideration the functionality and also the adaptability and inclusivity of your fitness equipment that you choose to buy, and understand it is a huge investment. So don't go cheap, get the best.
Yeah. Indeed, you often get what you pay for it, actually. And, I mean, yeah, quite frankly, if you buy crap, you're often going to get crap. So, I mean, really, we need to durable equipment that's going to last and is, I guess, well rounded also. That, cardio, free weights, benching, and all the different areas and muscle groups that we could use is very important.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, guys. So always take note of that and try to make sure that you're involved in the whole process of procurement so that you can look in those catalogs and you can speak with the vendor rep to ensure that you get the things that you need for your clientele. And next up, guys, our next segment is the therapist friend. We want to talk about preparing for the NCTRC examination or even your local state examination for the states that actually have state examinations. Just to give a little bit of insight into my experience, I actually took a paper exam. It was part paper, part computer. I had a window of that a window that was given to me, a scheduled appointment time. I had drove 4 hours into the city to take my exam, meaning that I came in the night before. It took my exam bright and early in the morning. I made sure to eat my whole omelet the morning of, my brain food. And I had actually began studying for the exam 4 to 5 months before I took it. I had the added pressure of taking a position which afforded me the opportunity to get hired pending I passed my credential examination within 1 year of hire. So it was super critical that I got it done because I waited until after I had passed probation at 6 months to actually even sit for the examination. I had flashcards, I had a booklet, and I also had a glossary, and I had practice tests that I pulled from the credentialing site. And I also was a part of 2 or 3 informal study groups with other pre-credentialed RTs that were also trying to pass their exam within first year of hire at our employer. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did attempt to study a lot. I really felt like, honestly, there wasn't that much of a way to study. Once I took the exam, I knew all the answers, but I also didn't really feel like there was that much of a way to study. I feel like a lot of it was based on kind of my experience and background in areas like counseling and abnormal psychology. So taking a lot of courses that, excuse me, are kind of related to the field, like counseling psychology, sitting through lectures on abnormal psychology, and remembering some of the basic principles of practice. A lot of them I feel like was scenario questions and those type of things that there's not that much of a way to study for in terms of theory and that type of a thing. So I passed very, I realized I knew all those answers, but uh, I felt like you couldn't actually study for it. But I feel like getting, uh, being in different places, hearing a lot of different information would help. So, and that's the best way to study for the exam. Having a lot of experience and getting a lot of experience, I feel like helps as well. So those kind of principles definitely helped. I mean, basically the principles of, you know, definitely, mental health and psychology has been one of my strongest aspects, and that's really kind of what I remember a lot of on the exam. And oftentimes we're very good with active listening and reflection, which is a key for counseling psychology. Uh, that hierarchy of needs, know that Abraham Maslow. Um, that's important. You have to get your basic needs met, and then we're kind of very good at focusing on love and belongingness, inclusion, to help build self-esteem, move people towards self-actualization, get making people as independent as possible, which is the premise of what we do, helping people become as independent as possible, and using animals and plants to give people that sense of that we're taking care of. other people, helping people process their thoughts and behaviors. The cognitive behavioral aspect of what we do is important, and it's part of that's what I remember a little bit from the exam. And of course, yeah, the existentialist, kind of figuring out what people want to be remembered by, what their ultimate goals are, and helping move their thoughts and behaviors towards uh, making their ultimate goals a reality, helping them figure out what their ultimate goals are, and then helping that become a reality. I mean, what more therapeutic recreation can that be? I mean, that's kind of what we do. We're always creating and recreating who we are. So, um, you know, that's basically some of what I remember from that. And I'm helping somebody study for the exam right now. So, it's, yeah, I mean, all these concepts are, uh, I mean, definitely study, but I think all of it is also uh, getting in front of learning and remembering all of the concepts, um, and getting that hands-on practice really helps because there's a lot of scenario questions and that type of a thing that I remember. So if you've
Absolutely, a
had
lot
those
of scenario questions.
yeah, if you've had those experiences, then and been part of a treatment team, the API process. Remember that. That's the heart of the API process. That's the heart of what we do. Um, so, and if you remember, those basic concepts in TR, and I mean, you'll be fine on the exam. I'm sure. The ultimate, the premises.
And then again, to remember, just regarding just test taking strategies, remember this is a time test. So pondering on one question will eat up time. So with that being said, use the law of deduction. This helped me tremendously when it came to doing the questions where they were like, I would call them stanzas or like what if this, what if that happened type of scenario questions, meaning that you immediately eliminate the answers that you know are false on the multiple choice. You're going to narrow yourself down to two questions. One is, and both seem correct. And then you choose the best of the two. And then you move on. Right?
That's right.
And then the thing of it also to remember is that there's several fail-safe mechanisms within the test as well. If you're able to get a certain amount of questions correct at a certain time limit, you may not have to go further, right? But if your percentages are off at a certain amount of time, the test affords you more questions to get a higher score, a higher percentage across more questions, as well. So there's a lot of test taking strategies that you can incorporate, and then there's also just a lot of mindfulness regarding if you suffer from test anxiety that you can take into consideration. I do believe that studying for the test that it does better prepare you, especially with you being a new graduate. You don't have a lot of the experiences to glean from. So, studying and taking those practice tests are super critical in being successful into reducing your anxiety when it comes to taking this test. It is a huge investment money wise. At that time when I took it, it was the most expensive test that I've ever paid for, and it came out of my pocket. I had a lot riding on it. And I knew that, I wanted my best to pass. And there have been some RTs that took them 3 times to pass, as well. So, who may have suffered from test anxiety, and they just went blank. So, study, give yourself 4 to 5 months to study, answer the best out of the two questions. Out of the two, choose the two best answers to your questions, circle the best one, Click the best one.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And move on. Don't sit there and
And
ponder.
yeah. Well, and of course, there's also, and that's a good point that you made, Myisha. And if there are people who have test anxiety and have a formal diagnosis of an anxiety disorder or something like that, they might be able to get testing accommodations and modifications and that type of a thing. So, you could definitely take advantage of that as well. So, yeah, that's a good
Within the
point.
content of mine, I know within the content of mine, when I took it many years ago, it had a lot of physical medicine and medical terminology content in it. I know that Dan mentioned that his had some other things in it, but mine was heavy, heavy on physical medicine. So I was very fortunate that I did enough of the practice tests to get comfortable with that content. And I did multiple practice tests. And I typed myself. And I made flashcards of my medical terminology. I did the things that needed to be done so that I can feel prepared, and so that
Yeah.
I can move fast
Me too.
enough to
Yeah.
complete the test, because you want to complete the test in the allotted time. You don't
Yeah.
want to leave any question
Right.
unanswered.
Yeah. And in terms of medical terminology, yeah, I mean, there may have been some as well. I mean, I don't know if my test was terribly heavy on it, but I do feel like there was some, whatever it was, I felt like I instinctively or naturally kind of knew the answers. So, but yeah. Uh,
Yeah, so guys, we hope that you were able to glean some information and insights on that. For those who are coming up and taking any of your credentialing tests, be it your state credential, your national credential, or even your licensure test, we wish you the best at Recreation Rooster on that. And you are always welcome to reach out to either Dan or I for any consultation needs when it comes to that. We'll be happy to help. And next
Absolutely.
up, guys, we have our last segment, which is our Recreation Rooster stamp of approval. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes. And actually, I'm glad you said that. Uh, Krystal Braxton, she was the regional CTRS when I was at Alaris Health. Um, and she's the person we're endorsing for a stamp of approval. She's been wonderful. Um, she was, she's originally from Westchester County, Yonkers, New York, and has worked at a number of organizations, moved up to management, really as high as she could be in the profession. I mean, she was the regional CTRS or whatever, so overseeing all the directors and within the profession. So, and of course, she's in. She got her bachelor's degree, I believe, from Mercy College and her master's degree from Lehman College in the Bronx. That's actually um, also a very good, very good TR school, TR program. That's still actually in existence to this day. So uh, that's a good thing. But, it is with great honor that I honor Krystal Braxton with this. So,
Miss
yeah,
Braxton.
uh,
We at Recreation
yeah,
Rooster appreciate you. Absolutely.
yeah, indeed, yeah, uh, right, without a doubt. So, um, but with that, um, that's gonna be all for this episode. Um, please feel free to check us out on www.recreationrooster.org. Obviously we're on YouTube. We have Get a Shirt, and I could be reached at 845-987-0104, 845-987-0104, open to consulting and other items, and Daniel at recreationrooster.org, Daniel at recreationrooster.org. So,
You can always feel free to reach out to me, myisha Jones, at myisha@recreationrooster.org. Also, too, if interested in living in the Los Angeles area, looking for some great opportunities to do some contract work with some amazing clients and some amazing organizations, feel free to reach out to me at info@newhorizons-concierge.com. You can also reach me by phone 213-524-6925. And that is episode 15. See you guys. Bye.
Yep. Bye.